What are Lombard loans and are they a good idea? That's going to be the topic of today's video. So if you're an expat or a high net wealth individual, then click on the link below and go onto my website. Now, I'm going to talk about Lombard loans today. Now, what are they and are they a good idea? Lombard loans, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly for some of you particular viewers who, I remember I did a video on Dirigo and I mispronounced the name throughout the video and I got so many comments about that. But anyway, in terms of Lombard loans, basically what they are is if you have a brokerage account, the brokerage company will sometimes lend you money to invest more. So let's keep this simple. Let's say you have 100,000 in your account or a million or whatever it is. They will lend you some money so you can invest more on the account. So it's not like usually you can take the money out. You're actually given the money in cash and then you can invest on the same platform. Of course, you're usually not given more than the total balance, otherwise it's risky for them. But basically you have to pay the money back and the interest rates vary. They can be very low or high, but usually they're between 2 and 5%, and usually the duration of the loan is a few months or 1 or 2 years. Now, here's the interesting thing. Statistically speaking, if you take out one of these loans, you are probably going to win. In other words, I've said this many times before, but the S&P 500 has gone up on about 72% of years and it's been down 28% of years, or some people say it's 74 versus 26. It depends how you measure it, like if you include the dividends and so on. And because interest rates are so low at the moment, it's likely that the S&P will go up in the next year, but it's not guaranteed. So we could maybe move that up to 80% or so. However, of course, markets don't always go up and they can go down during very unexpected periods and indeed go up during very unexpected periods. So this leads me to something, and that's that even though you're likely to win with a loan like this, the risks are quite high, which means often it isn't a good idea for most people. Like, let's say you have $1 million in your brokerage account. As just a pure example, we could use 100,000 as well. And you're given a 500,000 loan in any currency. And the interest rate, let's say, is 3%. So, you have to pay back, I don't know, 515,000. And let's say the markets even don't go up at all. They just stay stagnant. So in a year's time, that means you have to pay back 15,000 to the brokerage. Or indeed, if the markets go down a lot, you could be left with tens of thousands of dollars or pounds or euros to pay back. Or even if you take a smaller example, but it's proportionate, like you've got 100,000 and you're given 50,000 extra, then of course it's highly risky. But what is the case is obviously if you use leverage, like leveraged ETFs or Lombard loans, you can make a lot of money. So for example, let's say last year when the Dow Jones was at 17,000 and now it's at 35,000, it's more than doubled, slightly above doubled. Obviously, if you would have taken out a loan at that period, and it's a Lombard loan, it's not like it's like credit cards where you're charged 18%. You would have made a hell of a lot of money, but there are safer ways to actually take advantage of those kind of events, like for example, having stocks and bonds and rebalancing during those moments into stocks. So last year, if you would have rebalanced during the worst of the crisis, you would have made quite a decent amount of money. Maybe not as much as if you're leveraged, but you would have made a decent amount of money nevertheless. And I think here's also another reality. Let's say if you get out one of these loans once, and let's say you make a lot of money. Human nature being what it is, you'll probably want a second loan and a third loan and a fourth loan. And if you keep leveraging yourself, it's a bit like I've seen so many previously successful real estate investors go broke because they weren't careful about leverage. And I think investing isn't quite the same because the model is different, but I think when you use leverage, you are dramatically increasing your chances that you'll allow human greed to get the better of you. How can I help you? In 2 ways. First of all, are you an expat, a high net wealth individual, or just somebody who lives in a part of the world where it's difficult to get access to quality investment solutions? In which case, go onto my website on adamfayed.com and find out more. If you don't fit into any of those categories, then in which case there's a range of free material on my website, on this YouTube channel, and indeed on my Quora, where I get over 200 or have received over 231 million views in the last few years. And finally, if you want to actually read my thoughts in more detail, go onto Amazon and find my book on there.